Hello again, Dezz Asante here from the Tech Muse Academy with another mixlessons.com video quick tip. This one's a simple one. I'm going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough to answer a question that came in from Joey. Now, Joey, I won't read his question verbatim, but he basically has took his gear out of storage and he's able to start working again, and he started working with GarageBand. And his problem is that he's having trouble configuring his analog inputs, getting his microphone to work and to capture audio. And the one of the symptoms that he's experiencing is that when he's recorded, when he does manage to get sound in, and he hits play, the playback is only coming out of one speaker, out of the left speaker, for example. And there is a solution for that, and there's a reason why it happens, and it's a question that I get asked a whole lot, especially by folks just learning a new piece of software, just getting into it. So I'm going to flip over to GarageBand here, and I want to show you how to set this up in a basic way, how to configure it to capture audio off of your microphone. So there's a couple of steps that need to happen. First of all, if you hit Command, comma, or if you go to the preferences, to the GarageBand menu under preferences, that will bring up your general preferences. So this is a place to start. What you want to do is click on the Audio MIDI tab. And from there, you can choose your audio input and output settings. Now, by default, it's going to be set to system setting. And that means that it's going to use whatever audio device that you have configured in your general Mac OS X system preferences under sound. So I've got my Yamaha Steinberg, excuse me, my Firewire interface that I use called an MR816. Of course, if you don't own an MR816, that will not show up in the list, but the device that you do use will, assuming that it's been installed correctly if it requires drivers and so forth. So in your system settings, you can choose your input and outputs here. However, if you want to get more specific, right inside GarageBand, I can then choose my Yamaha Steinberg for my audio output and my Yamaha Steinberg for my audio input. If you're using a different interface, of course, then that's the name you would choose. For now, I'm going to leave mine at system setting because it's already configured correctly in the OS X system preferences. So that's step one. Make sure GarageBand is communicating with your audio device. Okay, step two, after you've created a track, and of course you do that by hitting add track, you're going to choose real instrument for something that's being plugged into the front of your audio device. You would hit create. Now I've already got one here, so I'll just cancel that. So here's my audio track. Now, a couple of things you'll notice. One thing you want to do is look over here on the right in the inspector, and if you don't see it, you may have to click this button right here to open it up. You might be looking at something else, so you may have to just click on the I for inspector, for info. And then down here at the bottom is where you want to determine your input source. Now, here's where the mistake is commonly made. Right now, by default, GarageBand has set my input source to stereo 1 and 2 of my Yamaha Steinberg device. That means that it is a stereo track and it is listening to both inputs 1 and inputs 2. Now on a stereo track, it's 2 channels, one for left, one for right. So if I've only got my microphone plugged into input number 1, and it's listening to 1 and 2, then I'm only going to get sound on the left channel, channel 1, out of the 1 and 2 stereo pair, okay? This is a common mistake. So what you want to do to avoid this playback through only one channel is change from a stereo input to a mono input. Now, I've got 16 inputs on my audio device. You may not have 16. You may only have 2, left and right, 1 and 2. So what you would do is if you were plugged into input number 1, you would choose mono 1. From that point, when I hit record, you'll also notice, by the way, that my metering is now both sides, both speakers, left and right channels, even though it's a mono track. And this is where people get confused, because people assume that when I choose mono or stereo, they think, well, stereo is better, right? Or my music, I want it to be in stereo. But with an option like this, the software is not asking you, do you want stereo playback? The software is asking you, are you using a stereo input source? Not for playback, for input. And if you're not, if you're using a single microphone, a single guitar cable, if you're only plugging into a single input, then that is not a stereo input. And so you want to make sure that you select a mono input and choose the appropriate channel. And you'll notice, again, you see my levels on both sides equal. If I switch that back to the way it was again, stereo 1 and 2, And now you see that my voice as I'm speaking is only coming in to the left channel out of a 2-channel pair. Okay, so again, that's a simple fix, simple solution, just a slight misunderstanding that I find a lot of people have in the beginning if they're new to recording or new to a particular piece of software, and that is how you solve it. So Joy, I hope that helped you, and I hope perhaps some other people out there who've wrestled with the same question have been helped by that little quick tip. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Just before I go, I want to encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to pop on over to mixlessons.com, throw your email on the email list so that I can send you for free my video training series called 3 Simple Steps to Amazing Home Recordings. A lot of people have really been helped from it, have found it very beneficial. And if you haven't checked it out already, it costs you nothing but a click. So head on over and we'll see you there.